All right, and welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my buddy through the miracle of computer phone, with Dave DeFore. Dave to 48 minutes. Coach Duffer, how you doing, man?
I'm great, man.
Yeah?
I'm great. Yeah. You know, my complaints are not worth talking about. So, yeah, I'm great.
Well, I mean, how did you endure, I would say, one of the more emotionally grueling nights of the NBA calendar so far? It was a roller coaster. I did not know how passionately I cared about the lottery results until they happened.
Oh my God.
I was watching them with my children. I kept explaining them to my 7 and 10-year-olds, and I tried to explain the lottery plainly.
Oh,
and then they were like, I don't get it. And then I would go back through and be like, no. So, all right. So you see, here's, and I showed her the tankathon table. I'm like, look, these are the percentages of what could happen.
Tankathon?
Yeah. I'm showing my 7 and 10-year-olds the tankathon table. I'm like, look, all right, if this isn't the Kings right here, something weird happened. Oh, it's the Kings. But then I think by the end they sort of got it, but they still didn't get it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I normally, if I'm not working, I normally am not watching the lottery. I normally am just like, I'll see it after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll see the results after. I do the same with the draft because I don't cover the draft.
Yep.
And this year, I'll be off. Yeah, I'll look at the draft results after. I don't need, it's not something I'm into watching.
That's wild. I'm so passionate about it. So, but you watched this one?
But I did watch this one. Well, I had to record last night, but also Andrew Select and Alex Spears did a lottery live stream because they do cover the draft for the show, right? And it was fun, man. Like, number one, those guys are great. It's a good hang. It's much better than watching on TV. But they do care, right? And so, their enthusiasm kind of got me into it. And so it's sort of like what you did with your kids, but they did it for me, right? I didn't have any notes up. I was just watching the stream. And they, when the first team started to jump.
Mm-hmm. There were so many jumps.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like the first one was like, oh my gosh. The Mavs jumped. And
the first one being the Mavs was like, come on now. Come on, that's ridiculous.
Well, the saddest thing about that, the Bulls lost the coin flip.
Yeah.
For those numbers.
If Josh Giddey hadn't made the half-court buzzer beater. But listen, if Josh Giddey hadn't made the half-court buzzer beater, he wouldn't be my son's favorite player. So, I mean, there's butterfly wings, whatever. I know. Explaining things to my kids. Let me do a brief aside on parenting.
Yeah.
So growing up in a very Christian atmosphere, one of the things that we were sort of, I don't know how we were taught this at church, but it came up a lot, is the concept of you know what, that doesn't bother me, but how am I supposed to explain that to my kids? And we see this used a lot. We're like, oh, you're selling whatever. You could be selling sex toys at Target. Oh, how do I explain that to my kids? All kinds of weird things. Yeah. You're like, well, so I've always heard that. I've always turned that into a joke. It makes me laugh a lot. The John Collins's dunk contest where he did the Wright Brothers thing. My joke to that is, how do I explain this to my kids? I've always used this as a joke because it cracks me up now. But I will say, having children, them asking complex questions, things that I thought were complex, they're actually not complex. The one thing that they always heard repeated is oh, how do you explain gay marriage to your kids? It's the easiest thing you will ever encounter as a parent. It's like, you know how mommy and daddy love each other? Sometimes 2 girls love each other, 2 boys love each other. The kid says, cool. And that's it. It's the easiest thing you will ever explain to your kids. Right. It's way easier to explain hey, how do my cuts heal? You're like, all right, well, you clots, and then these. That's the easy thing you'll ever explain. Hard things to explain: the NBA draft lottery. Also, here's my ignorance: being raised evangelical. My son says, "Hey, what's the Pope?" Okay, I sort of know what a Pope is, but it turns out when I started explaining to a 10-year-old, I sounded like a complete idiot. I was like, it's the leader of the Catholic Church.
Well, it's
beyond that, I don't have much.
I mean, it's handed down from Peter, man. This is it's a lot.
Right. I was like, you know what? I don't know a lot about the
You didn't get into this great schism of 1054?
I was like, I know the word schism and catechism, It's like but I don't know what to explain this.
The schism. Do you know that part of what started the schism of 1054 was whether to use leaven or unleavened bread during the Eucharist?
Yeah, now we're talking. I
It's
mean, most of my background starts with like a Martin Luther. This is why we're not Catholic. But no, I don't. Anyways, we hit Catholicism. We hit evangelical hot issue topics. Of course, we have to talk about. I mean, the Mavs winning the lottery was stunning.
Amazing.
So we got to get into that, and then of course, there's the Jayson Tatum injury. There's the Celtics falling down 3-1 to the Knicks.
You talked about emotions.
The Cavaliers. Thank you. That actually gets me back on track.
Yeah.
The emotions of the evening. First of all, I got really worked up over the lottery, as it turned out.
Right.
And then you're watching this intense basketball game that was intense on its own. Knicks and Celtics was intense on its own.
Yep.
And then the injury happened.
And but the thing is that it was also, the Knicks were going to lose. Or excuse me, the Celtics were going to lose.
They were already going to lose. Yeah.
And so we're already doing again, you know how this works.
Yeah.
Oh, the Celtics are done. They're out. It's 3-1. It's over. And then that happened.
Right. So then we had that injury. I legit was kind of stunned. I mean, sometimes I don't know when the games are scheduled. I was assuming we were getting a second game on the West Coast, but it was like during that Knicks Celtics when that's over, I'm like, wait, there's another game? I'm worn out. And so, it was a big, emotionally devastating, intense evening for basketball fans. Of course, the Timberwolves take care of business in the late game. That one wasn't that exciting. What's happened in games like 2 through 4, like the Warriors are in it, and you're like, you're not going to win.
Yeah, it's not real.
Like you're not going to win. Eventually, the Timberwolves are going to turn it on, and now we sit and
talk about those games, and you don't even talk about the comebacks.
Yeah,
right. Because it's just random for them.
But I guess before we get into everything we have to hit today, might as well do breakfasts. Dave, you had anything?
Oatmeal.
Okay.
Dates.
All right.
I'm telling you, man, this is I don't know. I've probably done this now for a year straight.
Yeah, it's about a year.
Amazing. So easy.
Before you started,
I wasn't a breakfast guy.
No, all right. I just need to know this. Before you started doing the every week Fastbreak Breakfast, were you at least mixing your breakfast up then, or did you just start eating oatmeal at the start of that routine, and now you're like, this is good. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to eat oatmeal every day. Okay.
It's just I just started it, and it's perfect.
Okay. I don't know how I feel. I kind of feel like I got you on a bad little rut here.
No, it's not a rut. I mean, it's funny. I'm excited to eat it every day. It's delicious.
I had my breakfast. I had a small roast beef slider. I'm at work. Apparently it's like faculty and staff week or something.
Oh.
And in the break room, they had little cut up sandwiches, little tiny.
Yeah. Was it on King's Hawaiian bread?
Yeah, basically it was. I think it was King's Hawaiian bread.
They got some mustard on there?
As far as I can tell, it was roast beef. It had a little bit of a green. I'm not sure. It wasn't straight lettuce. No, I don't know.
Like a mixed green?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what it was, honestly. It was only a few bites. I didn't ponder it long. It had some form of it was a mayonnaise adjacent. We'll go aioli of some sort, but it was delicious actually.
Not like a horseradish.
It had a tanginess, but it was not a straight horseradish or even a creamy horseradish. Actually, we should wrap this up quickly so I can go back and get another one. I'm worried they might be gone in about an hour. Anyways, all right, so those were our breakfasts. After our breakfast, we move into our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. There is something I should correct. Last episode, I muddled through a stat about the Timberwolves in their closeout win against the Lakers. I didn't have the exact numbers. I threw out the gist of a stat, which is always the worst way to do it. So the specifics. In that Game 5 win over the Lakers, the Timberwolves were 7 for 47 on three-pointers. That's 14.9%. The actual stat, we can say this a number of ways, the Timberwolves were the first team ever to win a playoff game taking at least 43 pointers while making less than 20% of them. You could narrow that down and say they're the first team ever to win a playoff game taking 30 or more three-pointers while hitting less than 15% of them. Also, Dave, I would say for purposes of statistical clarity, the more interesting number might be they were only the third team ever in the playoffs to take 33-pointers, at least 33-pointers, and shoot under 15%. So good job, Timberwolves, winning, not making 3-pointers. Sorry, listener, for not totally getting the exact stats right. Dave, there are a lot of shooting issues. It's not just the Timberwolves in a Game 5 win over the Lakers. Lots of teams just bricking threes left and right. Well, we're seeing, I mean, the Thunder had a historically terrible shooting night. You've had the Celtics, of course, struggling to shoot. Both the Nuggets and Thunder in Game 4, some amazing first-half shooting numbers where no one made anything. We're seeing teams turn to zone over and over. Is everyone nervous? What's going on?
Maybe. I mean, there's also some fatigue.
Yeah.
There is, I don't know. And the lights are actually brighter in the playoffs. I mean, you look, Lou Dort misses so many threes, and it's because they're all wide open, man. I just, he's just not a guy who can do it. I don't know. It's funny to just say that it's the playoffs, but it just is true every single time you say it, right? Like,
well, part of me wonders if the guys who aren't ready for the playoffs, and you look at some of the Thunder supporting cast, and you're like, okay, Lou Dort, those aren't actually going in now for you. Then you have like Ty Jerome. More on him in a second, but Ty Jerome been kind of horrible. But also there's like big name guys just shooting. Struggling from the field, not making their shots.
Some of it also is, again, there's fatigue. I think, like, when you look at what the Celtics are doing, that game where they missed 45 threes, they weren't even running offense. They just were, they were just chucking.
So, Dave, let's actually get into that series a little bit. So, you would say in the regular season, you're like, don't worry about the Celtics. They're rope-a-doping because they don't run anything.
Right.
You had assumed when they hit the playoffs,
they'd go back to their good habits.
Maybe they'd run some plays and do some things and try to generate
They did in March.
Different actions. And like this, it's not happening. It's just all pull-ups. And even Jayson Tatum, before he gets hurt, and he says he has this huge game, finishes with over 40 points. All his shots were still pull-ups. They were all step backs. So I'm watching with my kids. I got distracted. The Knicks had this deficit again in the second half, like they've had in every game of the series, and the Celtics lead is down to 7. It's down to 5. Oh, Tatum hit a wild step back up to 8. It's down to 4. It's down to 3. I legitimately thought it was the end of the game, based on how the Celtics had quit playing offense. Like it was like it was 4 minutes left in the third quarter. I'm distracted watching with my kids being like, oh, wow, this is really falling apart. And my son cheers for the Celtics because they wear green. He's a simple guy with simple pleasures.
Yeah.
But like I literally thought, I was like, oh, there's 4 minutes left. That's why they're stinking. Oh, wait, it's the third quarter. They have a whole other quarter to blow this. And, of course, they did. They stopped running anything. It's just all step backs. It's all one-on-one.
They get into this weird thing where they're trying to burn clock. They go away from what works. Like they attack to start these games. I mean, Derek White was super aggressive to start the game. But they always go back to this, I'm going to just dribble the air out of the ball and take a step back. Jaylen Brown wasn't good in the game.
Hasn't really been good.
Got nothing from Drew Holiday, got nothing from Al Horford, got nothing from Porzingis. I mean, Porzingis, whatever he's dealing with, he looks like a shell of himself.
Long COVID? I mean, the Porzingis story is probably the most notable. I mean, outside of course, Tatum getting hurt.
Sure.
We're going to address that in a second. But like, as far as this series, if you're going to talk about the Celtics issues and not just talk about the Knicks and the things they've done well, I think you talk about that, well, Porzingis isn't Porzingis. He's not himself, and that is a huge issue. It's
he's the reason they won the title last year. That was the X factor is such an overused term, but he really was there. They could have gotten it done. They got it done for a game without Tatum, right? Like they could withstand losing one of those guys, but you could see even during the regular season when they didn't have him, they just didn't have the same amount of juice. Like he really does. He just changes the geometry for him, and him not being 100%. Yeah. I mean, they were vulnerable coming into the playoffs. Jaylen Brown had the knee, then Tatum picks up the wrist. You got Porzingis, struggling, and then Al Horford, it looks great one night, and then does he have it the next game, right?
Yeah.
Drew Holiday obviously had been hurt, and so I don't know. I wasn't surprised that the Knicks were having success against them, right? Like they weren't the same, but also they didn't do themselves any favors. Stop running offense in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
So when we talk about the Knicks, I think the way Jalen Brunson is so dependable in these comebacks and in these second halves, where again, I can't get over the fact that the Celtics have been up by, I can't remember, was it a 15 or 14 point lead in the second half? But like that was
14.
So they've been up, the Celtics have been up in the second half by 14 or more in every matchup. The Knicks had their first double-digit lead of this series in the final minutes. But I can't get over, one, how everything the Knicks dreamed of when they had the Villanova reunion and then when they traded for Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, maybe you could wish for more from Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, I know he made his shots, but he's playing more like a spot-up shooter and just like a random kind of role player guy as opposed to the
they don't really use him, right? Like it's not like you get a ton of Brunson Cat pick and roll. Like you just don't.
Yeah. But the fact that all those the supporting cast with OG and McHale and then Brunson is just like the guy on the ball coming through over and over, and he's able to get the shots he wants over and over, and he's making them.
It's insane.
It has this inevitable feeling where you're watching the Celtics and you're like, "Well, wow, you're really going to blow this again, huh?" And it was like, I feel like, I mean, I know there's the fan angle where you get nervous and then you have this feeling of doom. Like if you asked Celtics fans midway through the third quarter, like, how's this going to go? I think a lot of them would have said, I think we're going to lose because the way that the momentum is going. But I think even non-Celtics fans like me, it was just like, oh yeah, this is I've seen this. This is going to once again be like, I trust what the Knicks are doing more. And maybe it's Brunson who arguably
Brunson, man.
Could be the MVP of the playoffs so far.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He needs like walkout music like a wrestler for the fourth quarter,
Okay.
And he just, whatever, like he just has this, a crazy switch that he's flipping right now. And, we talk all the time about how small guards can't win. And I say we as, the royal we. I don't know, man. Is Jalen Brunson going to just put him on his back?
Yeah.
Every shot is hard, right?
He's averaging 9 points in the fourth quarters of this series. I'm actually curious what he is for the whole playoffs, if it's something weird.
You're going to play Enter Sandman like they used to do for Mariano Rivera,
Yeah. So, yeah, he's the leading scorer among all players in the playoffs in just the fourth quarter. Brunson averaging 10.2, Donovan Mitchell averaging 9, Jalen Williams 7.8. A little bit of an interesting stat right there. Yeah, Jalen Brunson's been incredible, and the way he keeps coming through, it's really impressive. And now, the Knicks are on the precipice of making the conference finals, and it seems like they are most likely going to meet up with the Pacers.
Knicks
conference finals.
1995,
yeah, 94, 95. Yeah, the incredible history of those two franchises. Also, this struck me just as a general thought just a couple of days ago. Like the way the second round was going with all the road teams winning for a second there and the presumed favorites before the playoffs started, the Thunder and the Cavs and Celtics, them all being down in their series. I was just trying to remember, and I'm horrible at remembering these types of things, but has it ever happened before where in the second round you could legitimately imagine all 8 teams making the finals? We were like, no, I guess they could all make it.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah.
I mean, for most of the time that we've been watching basketball, there's been a great team.
Yep.
And then there's been the team that was like, that they were fighting. Think about the Warriors and the Rockets, right? If the Rockets had made a finals, you would have been like, yeah. But if the Clippers had made a finals during that run, you would have been like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
They were never serious. So I just think, this is the parity era. And it has never been like this for the NBA ever.
Here's what I'm confused about the parity era. I believe the CBA intended to make a parity era, but I don't feel like it should have happened yet. I felt like this is supposed to happen in a couple more years. And I like how you point out
age thing.
I like how you point out previously we had teams break through, but usually they would break through even to a conference finals. And you're like, that's not real. You know, like the Trailblazers or the Grizzlies or like the Hawks. You're like, yeah, these are good teams, but come on now. And I would even say last year's Pacers. And you're like,
sure. Although I think this run probably.
So now we have to like reassess that. But also I don't understand anymore. It used to be there was always a great team. And then if something weird happened, like, of course, there were upsets.
Right.
But they were more like freestanding. Oh, wow. The Mavs won 68 games and lost in the first round of the war or whatever it was. You know, like we've had these one seeds that flame out and the matchups don't work out. But it's very rare where you're like, any of these teams can win a title right now. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know. Maybe it is just the parity era. Maybe it's a 3-point shot. Maybe it's everyone getting nervous shooting. And
I think also if you look at the best players in the league right now.
Yep.
You know, like it's Jokic. Essentially, he has no other all-stars, right?
Yeah.
Shea has the best team around him, right? Like I just think that the talent is kind of spread out. It's not divided between East and West, right?
Yep.
So it's not that balanced, but I do think, but when you compare the talent of the Cavs, they don't have the individual talent, but the talent stacks up to those other teams. I think there's more ways to build a successful team today, I think, than there was 10 years ago, right? Where you needed the tentpole. Maybe the tentpole guy just isn't as important.
So I feel like you could be correct. You're making a fair and fine argument. I also feel like we're sort of like making up something to describe what's happening as opposed to being like, but why is that happening? Like, I know that's because like Donovan Mitchell to me is supposed to be good enough and he's come through most of the time for the Cavaliers this series. You know, obviously the blowout in game 4, not ideal. You talk about Jokic's supporting cast. I mean, I think arguably you could say against the Thunder, Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray have played at the level of basically any All-Stars in the playoffs.
Sure.
They've been awesome.
Those guys are borderline All-Star guys also.
I think I just can't. I am at a loss with how like a Pacers-Knicks finals seemed unbelievable.
Well, let's not.
The playoffs started. We're not there.
Injuries, though. No. I mean, injuries, though. Let's not forget that injuries have actually affected quite a bit of this. I mean, even Minnesota, right? They're getting some injury luck here. Everyone is kind of being affected. Every single series has been affected so far by injuries, including like the Cavs, right? If their guys don't get hurt, this is a different series.
That's true.
You know, missing a game in the playoffs. I mean, that throws everything off for you. So I wasn't surprised that those guys came back and it was like, oh, hey, we had this great explosion and then we have nothing in the following game. They just, I don't know. I just think rhythm is too important. And the Cavs, I mean, they had some weird stuff going into the playoffs, but I don't know. The injuries really are the biggest thing. I mean, we talk about this all the time, man. It's a war of attrition.
Yep.
But at what point is that a problem to you, Keith, right? Where it's like, oh, if I know that every single playoff run, it's kind of a crapshoot and it's because, you know, like the season's too long or, you know, I don't know, the playoffs too physical, whatever reasoning we want to come up with for the injuries. Like, at what point does that affect you as like a guy who's like enjoying it?
What do you mean? Does it affect
like a fan?
The way,
like where it feels just like, I mean, the injuries, it's an outsized effect, right?
You compare. I think you compare it once again to the NFL and their goals of parity, and of course you have teams, Tom Brady's teams and Patrick Mahomes' teams that break through, but everybody else usually it's a lot of injuries, it's a lot of luck, and it's just last man standing. It's so weird though because that's not the history of the NBA because you have these 7-game series that's supposed to relieve that or avoid that. And now I don't know. It's weird. Let's talk briefly about Jayson Tatum and what it means for the Celtics, and then we'll get into the other stuff. As of this recording right now, about lunchtime on Tuesday, May 13th, they haven't come out, at least that I've seen, with the news, but presumed catastrophic leg injury and good chance, you know, something like the Achilles, and he's going to be out for a while. What does this mean for the Celtics going forward? Like, how do they deal with this, possibly losing Tatum for next season? and also facing maybe the most expensive roster in the history of the NBA.
Well, they were already kind of putting the word out that they were going to break things up, right? Like $500 million payroll, you just can't do that. Like you're just not going to.
I mean, I could, but I choose.
Yeah. You could float it. But it's not going to happen. So they were already putting that out there, and I can't imagine that they're going to veer off course from that. You know, the thought crossed my mind, Keith. I was like, what would it take to get that number 1 pick? You know, hey, like,
what would the offer be?
I don't know. Could Jaylen Brown start there?
It's not enough.
Do you know what I mean? It feels crazy. No. I said start there.
Oh, start there.
Right?
Okay.
Hey, Nico, you want to win a title? Yeah. You want to win a title? Look, our best player is going to be out next year. We'll take that number 1 pick. You know what I mean? I don't like, this is all pie in the sky, but I had that thought, you know, like the Celtics, could they just go ahead and start? Because you were going to kind of restructure anyway. It was going to be around, it's going to be around Tatum, because Tatum is the star player. And now, I mean, unless your mind has changed that Tatum is the guy, which I think Tatum probably bounces back from this fine. Like, Tatum doesn't actually get hurt. This is why it's beyond devastating for other reasons, but it's out of character. It's just not, you know, it's kind of crazy to see him go down. So I don't know, Keith, what do you think?
With the Jazz losing the lottery, could the Jazz trade their entire roster for like Jayson Tatum and Damian Lillard and just have 2 guys with like $100 million in dead money just not playing next year and then
just sitting on the bench
and then reboot it? I mean, I think tell Laurie, hey, we're going to tank this 1 more year. Let's tank it 1 more year. Come back. No, I don't know, man, because I thought with Tatum healthy, all right, if they move on from a Porzingis, or maybe this is time to trade a Jaylen Brown, do you find, you know, part of me, my Grizzlies fan brain is like, what would it take for a Desmond Bane for Jaylen Brown? What else would the Grizzlies include? It would save, it's a smaller contract for Desmond Bane. It would save the Celtics tens and millions of dollars every season. So that was like, well, so is Jaylen Brown going to be available? Well, of course, Al Horford is aging. And how much longer is he going to play? And so, like, the Celtics are going to look totally different. But now, with Tatum maybe missing the whole year, it's up in the air. It's also another, I mean, I'm not making light of this. It's another blow just to the talent pool of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the East just stinks, man.
Yep. Dame will be out all next year.
Yep. So,
I mean, that's actually, honestly, it's 3 guys that are out next year because Kyrie will be out.
Kyrie should be out for most of the year.
I mean, he's in Dallas
with the ACL.
You know, the injuries for next season are already stacking up. You know, we'll see how LeBron does after the knee injury that he had.
Recovers.
To me, I don't know. I like Brad Stevens has been pretty good since he moved into the front office.
Amazing.
Right? Like the Porzingis move was just none of us saw it coming, and it worked out perfectly. Right? Like they won a title. So I think that. I don't know, man. I feel like this summer is going to be insane. I mean, what? I don't like. They can't trade for Giannis, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. Like,
what? Tatum for Giannis. Milwaukee could be the team with the $100 million of no just dead money. Who owns their pick next year, though?
Could you rope? Well, you have to rope in the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, but right now, like this, it was already going to be crazy. Because, like, we know Kevin Durant's probably getting moved. We know that Giannis, it looks like he's going to get moved, which throws other big players in the mix because of the size of their contracts. And now this Tatum thing. I
mean, you think, and of course, Durant likely available.
Yeah.
In some
and it
sense.
Opens up the title run for next year, like in the East, right? Like, so if you're Indy, if you're Cleveland, if you're
Pistons,
the Knicks, Pistons, you were looking to pick somebody up because there's a power vacuum now.
Yeah. Without Tatum in Game 5, I mean, I feel like I should invoke the Bill Simmons Ewing theory potential here. I mean, I know it's going to be a lot of emotion to try to overcome. But like this Celtics team is so good. I mean, if Porzingis is never going to be even 90%, probably doesn't matter. But like we're talking about Jaylen Brown.
They're still good.
Eastern Conference Finals MVP and Finals MVP from last year.
they win all the time when Tatum is bad.
Yeah.
And we talk about it like as a way to knock Tatum. So maybe.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Celtic pride. Maybe they win game 5.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you beat Brunson 2 games in a row.
Right. With the way he's playing, it's just unbelievable. Anyways, let's take a quick break and let's come back and talk a little bit more about the lottery gods. All right, Dave. So, of course, the Mavericks won the lottery to the chagrin of many. I think it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way that a franchise could be as dumb as they were and make a very obviously bad trade. Just if you talk about the business decision of it, they made a flagrant error that harmed their franchise, you would think irreparably. And then they get bailed out with their 1.8% chance of winning the draft lottery. I was outraged. I like to be clear about this. I was upset. I thought it was terrible. It seemed wrong. However, on the Patreon-only episode that I released on Monday over at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast, I said if you ignore that Luka Doncic trade, which of course is impossible to do, but if you could ignore that, I felt like the Mavericks were one of the most just winners of the lottery because with our weird basketball ethics, Dave, they refused to tank.
Right.
This year, they said, you know what? It would be easy now that Kyrie's hurt just to shut it down. We traded for Anthony Davis. He's hurt. We should shut it down. They said, no. We're going to try to make it out of the play-in. They failed. But now, so them winning, it sort of seemed okay. But, of course, that isn't the real world we live in. It was more just egregiously kind of felt wrong. How did you feel? Do you feel that this aggrieved feeling is just?
I mean, I get it, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a reward. This is the thing, and this is why the whole like the lottery, and I guess the flattened odds are making it so that we see that tanking isn't really worth it anymore. I mean, God, you imagine being a Utah Jazz fan.
It is sometimes.
Sure, I think to a certain degree, like there's that middle, but it seems to me, I wish they would bump the odds up for the teams. Like if you make the play-in, you get a bonus in the lottery of some sort.
I mean, I feel like honestly, the 7th and 8th seeds should also get a little tiny piece too.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Because I don't mind the middle getting better. This is why I'm anti-lottery, which we talk about all the time. But I like the number of people that I got text messages from, right? Over the Mavs winning, right? If the Hornets win, we're all just probably like, oh, okay, cool. Him and Brandon Miller, you know what I mean? We're just having normal conversations. With the Mavericks, it's like an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Like it's literally questioning your faith.
Well, it also people literally
questioning the NBA.
The integrity of the NBA. I honestly feel a couple things.
Ernst & Young, man. I mean,
I honestly believe, one, this is not rigged.
Sure.
However, the people's pushback, I'm going to say the generalized, the generalized people's pushback to why it's not rigged, where people are like, oh, well, Ernst & Young is $1 billion. You think $1 billion firm hasn't done fraud before?
Right.
Get out of town. And they're like, oh, no. Like all of our intrepid NBA reporters who were like, it's not rigged. I've seen the ping pong balls come out. Have you never seen a magic show?
Or built a machine?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Seen Ricky Jay doing a card trick on YouTube? Like you don't think we can rig a ping pong ball machine? Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
But I don't believe it was rigged.
But I don't think so either.
And I believe honestly the NBA, if you got some truth serum from Adam Silver, I think he would wish this would not happen just because of the narratives.
Yeah.
I think he's like, yes, you know what? It is good for Dallas. It's a massive market. It's an unbelievable gift, not just to the franchise, but to like the podcasters. Those podcasters just keep coming up gold.
Think about Tim Cato.
Yeah. But it's like, I think, why wouldn't the NBA just as much? I mean, all right, I can hear an argument that like the Dallas Mavericks franchise was literally devalued and the fan base was broken. And this might've been the one way to rejuvenate the fan base. I hear you, but also like, isn't getting Cooper Flag and rejuvenating like the Wizards or the Bulls in those the Nets
Bulls
in those massive markets, maybe that would be also good for the NBA's bottom line. I mean, maybe the Hornets, maybe they're a smaller market, but like Charlotte's a big city.
Look, man,
and like,
do you know how many lawyers work for the NBA?
Yeah.
There's so many, and risk mitigation is like one of the big things.
Yeah.
There's no upside.
Right.
And the thing is, look, when they did it with envelopes, right? Okay.
Yep.
And they're like closed circuit TV, whatever. Like if you want to say that they rigged the Patrick Ewing one, maybe. Whatever. Today, there's too many people involved. And people love to run their mouth. Like, do you know how valuable it would be for the person who was able to say, "Oh, I know that the NBA is fixing this."
Yeah.
Do you know how much money that person would be able to make off that information?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
just the Joe Rogan appearance alone.
Right. And by the way, I personally would fix the lottery.
Yeah.
Under certain circumstances. Like if Victor Wembanyama, look, if I had pulled the ping pong ball and it said Victor Wembanyama was going to Charlotte, absolutely not. Nope. Not happening. Shutting it down for numerous reasons.
Yeah. That's funny to me.
Shutting it down. Not happening. Cooper flag, anywhere but Canada.
Yeah.
We're not sending an American flag.
So the rest of the lottery, it's hard to know the Mavericks part of it, but like, I honestly like it just fine. I like the Jazz losing. Yeah, you lost just like every other team that had the worst record has lost in the past several years because the math says you're most likely to end up with the 5th pick. All of this is good to me.
Right.
A little soapbox I stand on. I say you chose to punt a year. Like you decided to invest a year of your life, of your fan base's life, of Lauri Markkanen's career. You said, let's trade that year in for a 50-50 shot at having a top 4 pick. You had a coin flip. You're going to be 5th, and you lost the coin flip. That's the decision they made. I feel no sympathy there.
I'm also glad because Cooper Flag. Look, man, I don't like seeing good players go to bad, like awful teams.
I don't know do the Jazz count as that? I feel like Cooper Flag plus Lauri Markkanen plus Will Hardy being allowed to actually win basketball games seems good.
I don't know, man.
But
not a lot of talent there.
The Jazz could have let Lauri Markkanen play the whole year. They could have finished with the 9th best odds. They could have gotten Cooper Flag. Like it's all coin flip.
Sure.
The Wizards. People are like, oh, the Wizards are actually bad. Well, the Wizards were actually bad because they made an organizational decision to be actually bad this year.
Right.
And like they knew that. They flagged for Flag, knowing you have a 14% chance of winning the lottery. If you're the worst record, you have an 86% chance of not getting Cooper Flag. They made that choice. And I get it, the new CBA and the best way to rebuild to the draft, but like I'm not gonna feel bad for teams that lose on purpose.
Wizards also played their players.
Well, right? Sort of, but they they even stopped playing
Chris Middleton,
Koulibaly, and
Koulibaly.
like I mean, not even like you might say, okay, Middleton and Marcus Smart. It's that they only played every few games down the stretch.
Yeah.
Did they finish with a winning record in Chris Middleton appearances? They might have.
Yeah, they did.
But like they stopped playing Champagne, where it's like, come on. But anyways, they did a whole season. Same with the Nets. They did a whole season planning to lose. If you don't end up with the pick, that's fine. Like the Sixers also get bailed out. You think the Sixers made the tactical decision? Maybe through the year. Listen, we got to close out. So like,
but
none of that really
again,
bugs me.
I will look that for the Sixers. I'm glad that they get this pick. Kind of. I mean, now look, do they need it? I don't know. But
no. Do they deserve it? Also, no. But it's fine.
I don't know about deserve. Nobody deserves really anything, right? But
deserves got nothing to do with it.
They were trying to win.
Yeah.
Right. Period. Also, from a narrative perspective, these picks going to the top 3 picks going to these 3 teams is very interesting for us. I mean, I think it just like fans in general, right? This is why good teams having good picks is actually, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We're talking, hey, will Dallas trade that pick for Giannis? And then all of a sudden, oh, wow, this team, it moves off that pick and turns it into a piece that puts them in championship contention potentially. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, I don't know. This is why I'm anti-lottery, because sometimes this chaos is good, actually.
I mean, of course, it all comes back to, for you and me, we just want to see a basketball league where every team tries to win.
Yes.
That's the pipe dream. But even beyond that, I like saying it's rewarding the wrong teams when like you have actual bad teams like the Nets and the Hornets and the Jazz. I'm like, no, get out of here. It's a salary cap league.
Yeah.
Like everyone is allowed to sign players and play their good players. You guys literally don't play your good players. It's just, it comes down to a lot of luck. Talking about the Mavericks situation now with their options to maybe consider a trade, even if they don't do a trade, like with the little I know about Cooper Flagg, is not Cooper Flagg plus Anthony Davis the most awesome front court thing, like on paper?
I mean,
it was amazing.
Well, it depends. It depends. Who are we calling the center?
Well, I mean, even still, if you play another center, if you play a Derek Lively, I mean, of course, this means they're going to trade. Presumably, they're going to trade Gafford or Lively. Probably. I mean, Gafford.
Lively would probably get you a pretty good haul. I mean, maybe like you could get a pretty good draft
also,
pick,
I think,
right? From a team.
Lots of people are making the joke that like, what if Nico goes the like the DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley route of not actually taking the number one guy, of not going for Luka Doncic, of not going for Cooper. Like, what if the Jazz are like, would you like, hey, you know what? Defense wins championships. What if we give you, I don't know what it'd be. They don't need another Walker Kessler, but like
Walker Kessler.
But like the Jazz have 9 first-round picks.
Right.
Like going 9 first-round picks and Colin Sexton. You know, like you need a guard. You need
a guard. You need a guard pretty bad. I mean, honestly, like there's who knows what they're going to do. This is actually we should be rooting for more teams to have chaotic front offices. Maybe like because I do not know what the Mavericks are thinking. I mean, Giannis is a Nike guy, right? Maybe that's enough to say, hey, we can. What could they send to New Orleans to get some picks back to the Bucks, right? Like,
yeah, man. Moving on to the Spurs, they get lucky. Yeah, they always get lucky. They get the second pick. Of course, it's awesome for them in their rebuild or their ascension with Wembanyama and with Castle. Here's my one takeaway from the Spurs jumping to 2. Trade De'Aaron Fox for whatever you can get. Like,
really?
I don't love De'Aaron Fox. He's fine.
Really?
But like, you got lucky with number 2. Man, let's see. What do the Mavs give you for De'Aaron Fox? Like, let's just.
Because do you like Castle a lot, right?
I do like Castle. I don't think I've talked about it much on the show. I do like Castle. I don't know if he's going to be an all-star or anything.
Sure.
My thought was De'Aaron Fox is okay. He's quite good. But in a healthy conference, I'm not sure how often he's going to be an all-star. You know, I mean, in the East, right, he'd be an all-star. But like he's quite good. I don't know how much his game is going to age, and he's not a great shooter. And it's just like, if we're building the ideal team in a lab and you have Wembanyama, I was lukewarm on the trade. It seemed fine. But now that you get this number 2 pick, it's like, all right, maybe we can find something even better.
I thought they would. Like, I mean, like, I just don't see a world in which they do it. Like, But I do like it. I mean, I feel the same way about the Warriors with Jimmy Butler.
What do you mean? Just like, what could they trade?
They should be trying to trade him in the summer. Yeah, absolutely.
For Giannis, I mean, Giannis does have a lot of social connections, it seems like, with Steph Curry and the Warriors.
Be amazing.
It's wild.
But you wouldn't. Let's see. So Spurs have 2 and they have 14.
Yep.
Right. I mean, you do that. I mean, maybe you do that. Castle. Yeah. I mean, you got to figure out the salaries, right? So Harrison Barnes is probably in there, but is that enough to get Giannis? 2-14. I mean, you know, you're going to have to get them.
No, you got to give them something. You got to give them. I think you got to give.
Well, you got to help get I think you got to get their picks back for them.
Yeah, it doesn't do. That's the whole thing with Giannis. It doesn't do a lot of good if the Bucks don't get picks back where they can.
Right.
At least I don't know.
I don't know.
Do the immoral tank.
Somebody who's really good at the trade machine is going to come up with all of these, and I'll just
let's veer back away from the lottery. So lottery is, I mean, exciting, unbelievable.
The most exciting lottery I can
unbelievable win for the Mavericks. The Pacers have dominated the Cavs, like we said. Here's the thing I think is most interesting. Like, while I was trying to come up with a all NBA team for the second round. where it's like, all right, it's Brunson and Anthony Edwards and probably Julius Randle. But like, I'm like, sorry, should like a Pacers player be on there? And it's like, their leading scorer in the second round is Miles Turner.
Yeah.
It's 17.8 points per game. They have 6 guys between 13 and 17 points per game. They're just getting it done in this. It's not totally egalitarian, but it's like they're just ripping the Cavs to shreds alive.
It's freewheeling.
Yeah.
Right? The ball, the Mike D'Antoni thing where the ball has energy. Right.
Yeah.
This is like a real, like, I think Rick Carlisle really has them bought into that, man. All these guys, if you look, Aaron Nesmith, he'll attack. Nemhart kind of playing the point guard half the time, right? Obviously, Halliburton calling his shot. Hey, step up and screen right in this spot, and then pulling for 3. I just think like there's something happening there. I mean, Rick Carlisle really he's coached a great playoff so far. He's pushed every button correctly. But the way the ball moves for them, they're just trying to get who's open. The ball finds it. It's like so often. And Miles Turner has been that guy because he comes up as the trailer a lot. Yeah. He's like trailing the play and he gets to that wing 3. And it's rare to have a center who can hit the wing 3 like that. So, I mean, he just benefits so much, right? Like, because the Cavs, they have to sink into the paint because the Pacers in transition are so tough to guard, right? And so now here comes Miles Turner walking right into some threes. It's kind of, it's reminiscent of like the Spurs with Boris Diaw. They would do that a lot. We're gonna run on a make, and Boris Diaw's coming up, and then a lot of times he would just play make from top of the key. But Miles Turner just bombing.
Yeah, I can't get over that game, the game 4, where it's like, all right, the Cavs, took care of business in game 3. Donovan Mitchell outscores Halliburton by 40. Yeah, and then it's like, we're healthy now. Hey, we're healthy. Watch out. And then it was just the most humiliating blowout of just like, we're going to destroy you in every single way. Also, it kind of kicked off with that Benedict Mathurin play. I'm still confused. Have they released the Hawkeye?
They didn't go to the spy satellite on this one.
I've never seen the closed fist.
He's not like, he doesn't rear back.
He doesn't rear back.
Right. He doesn't throw a punch. I thought he like poked him in the chest.
I thought he gave him a little tweak. A little tweak.
I know.
It looks like a tweak.
It looked like it. He might have gave him a little.
Yeah. Give him a little nip there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. But DeAndre Hunter's reaction to me was like he got hit in the chest, right? Like, because you don't shove a guy, like, I don't know.
I thought, again, this goes to actually how I've been watching most of the playoffs. I'm watching with my kids and I'm watching on delay. So like, little life update. I've been like, the basement, basically it's back in business. We got the basement all cleared out after the flooding. I've been spending all of my days basically moving things, cleaning things. It's actually been kind of fun. I don't know, maybe turn over a new leaf in my life. Living in not squalor. But like so like I've been cleaning things, carrying stuff up and down the steps. My legs have been super sore. I actually thought my leg was really sore because of the washing machine incident I alluded to, where like it did bruise up, where the washing machine trying to transport it kind of fell, was leaning against my leg. But I think what happened was I'd walked up like multiple flights of stairs, something like 150 times a day for like 5 days in a row. I think that was the soreness. But anyways, I've been cleaning stuff up, getting the basement all the home, in order. And then I go to watch the playoff games at night, usually later, and they're starting at 6 Central Time, and I'm not free at that time. So I've been watching them. I mean, shout out. I'm not sponsored, but here's a plug. I love YouTube TV, how it just DVRs every NBA game. Amazing. So I watch it. I'm like, I'm always starting from the beginning. The downside is I'm missing out on some live reactions in the Slack channel. And so that's not as good. But I'm watching the whole games. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm putting my phone on Do Not Disturb, not even looking at it, just like hanging out, living in the moment like it's 2005, watching the game on TiVo. And it's been fun. The only downside is, like, based on the YouTube progress bar, you're like, oh, the Celtics aren't going to hit the game-tying 3 right here because the recording's over. But anyways, I've been watching all these things, and I'm a little bit behind. And I'm watching the Pacers thing. And of course, the best time to catch up when you're on DVR or it's recorded on the cloud, whenever there's a review, well, I'm catching up 5 minutes right here.
Right.
So I'm like scrolling ahead and I see the DeAndre Hunter reaction. And I'm like, oh, this must have been like a low blow. This was like a Dylan Brooks punch to the groin.
Right.
And so I'm going back and watching it. I'm like, when are they going to show the clip? And then I'm like, he hits him in the chest. When are they going to show the dirty play? And then it's like, and then there never was one. And then I'm like, this guy got ejected. And I watched the whole replay time trying to figure out what was going on. I never saw, like you said, he didn't rear back. And I never even saw the closed fist. It looked like he just kind of poked him, shoved him. I mean, listen, like a 2-finger jab in the chest hurts.
Hurts.
You know, it hurts real bad. I figured that's probably what he did or something.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that there was I never saw a smoking gun. I'm like, oh yeah, he did sock him really good.
They've been getting into it.
Yeah.
All series.
Yep.
But like, I've never seen DeAndre Hunter be involved in something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, known hothead DeAndre Hunter. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not a thing. So I don't know, but whatever happened, I would like to see, we break out the International Space Station view comes out for certain things, but not for this one.
But I mean, so anyways,
something happened.
That play happened.
So weird.
It was perplexing, and Matherin gets
and it changed everything.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, DeAndre Hunter's like pointing at his head, like, I got you. Mind games. Got you ejected. And then they got outscored by 30 or like the next 10 minutes.
Over.
It was just the worst.
It was over.
It was the worst blowout. I don't even know.
The Pacers, the Pacers have like some of this like really good like college program or prep program energy to them, like part of the way they fly around. And it's really
and the fact that they press.
Yeah, it's Nembhard and Nesmith is really what it is, right? It's those guys, like they're wearing them out, picking them up 94 feet, and then it just feels like, Nesmith especially. Yeah. That guy, he runs like a wide receiver, the way he like angles up the court in transition. I mean, that putback, people were saying it's a lane violation. Remember, it was Article 1 of the basketball charter. Is it cool?
Dave, it was like he was like 2 yards offsides. It wasn't like he was just one step past the line of scrimmage. He was 2 yards beyond the 3-point line coming in for that dunk.
I feel like lane violations should just go away.
It's one of those rules, much like traveling.
Yeah.
If you actually called it, it would stop. But right now, there's just they actually called one on Jokic.
Well, you saw the Jokic. Okay, no, but it was a double violation because
that's right.
He got OKC to go off sides, right?
But briefly before there was such a blatant Jokic lane violation on a missed free throw, and they didn't call it. And that's one of those, I go back to my referee memories, my days doing that, where I'm like, there's times where you miss a call, you're like, oh man, I wasn't prepared to call the 5 seconds because I just assumed they throw it in. When there's something like that, you're like, I'm gonna get them next time. No, I don't know why they don't call the lane violations. Speaking of Nesmith and Nembhard, those guys are so awesome. And amazing. They're the type of players I feel like every fan base you get so jealous of. There's certain guys where you're like, listen, we couldn't have gotten Halliburton. We couldn't have gotten Anthony Edwards. We couldn't have gotten Cooper Flagg. The league wasn't going to rig that for us.
Yeah.
There's guys you're like, oh, there's a superstar. I'm not jealous. Like, it'd be great to have Durant, but let's be real. I'm never having a Durant. But then there's guys like Nesmith and Nembhard, and you're like, why can't my team have that? The Celtics sort of gave away. I mean, they traded Nesmith for Malcolm Brogdon, but it's like, those are the players. One, those are the players that make a difference for good teams to bad teams. Those are the players, by the way, available for everyone. All you tanking teams who don't get the top pick, guess what? Go get yourself an Andrew Nembhard. Go sign, trade for, or develop an Aaron Nesmith. But those are the guys where you're like, man, Nesmith's making $11 million. That guy's so good. And it's like, those are the guys I feel like you get super envious of.
Somebody's gonna pay Ty Jerome, right?
Dude, Ty Jerome lost all his money.
He's probably guys who made money to me in the playoffs so far. I mean, I think Nesmith and Nembhard, like those guys,
they're locked
are heroes,
down,
right? They're locked down, right?
The extension that the Pacers gave Nembhard was such a good bit of business. It looked pretty high when they did it, and now you're like, and now I'm like, as a Grizzlies fan, being like, I wish I was my starting. I mean, could Jock play with him? Yeah, I wish I had a Nembhard.
No, that was Kuminga made money.
Kuminga, the Kuminga thing's hilarious. Kuminga lost all his money.
Yep.
I mean, Kuminga's weird where not many guys have I don't remember where, here's another, I'm going to muddle through another stat. Didn't he have a stretch where he had 30 straight games with 20 or more points and he basically shot 50% in every one? It was he had a 30,
run. But he had a run of 20
He had a bunch of games where he's this guy just, it's 20 points every night, and it's normally good efficiency because he's just cutting to the basket and hooping.
Well, then he hurt his ankle.
But then he also, regardless of the circumstances, falls out of the rotation totally, getting DNPs in the playoffs. And you're like, man, this guy was going to get paid, and now he's not. Meanwhile, Ty Jerome, you're like, that's a $100 million guy. How the Cavs keep him? And then Ty Jerome's been awful in this series. And all of a sudden, with the Curry injury, Kuminga's back. Kuminga found all that money Ty Jerome lost.
He's been good. Kuminga, and he's so young, right? Yeah. And it's been such a weird run there, for him.
Yeah.
I think that I think some team, and maybe it's the smart move.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Utah, why not?
You got to run. Who's in next year's draft? Is it Boozer?
Yeah, Cam Boozer.
Cam Boozer?
Gosh, man, that's right.
I mean, you have that connection. You already have Carlos Boozer who cheated over was it Gund? He signed that. He said he was going to opt out and sign with the Cavs, and then he cheated him and he signed with the Jazz back in the day.
I wonder how that would work out if they got the number 1 pick. But yeah, I guess you're right. They are obligated to tank.
Let's take we got to take a break. And we got to come back with the awards segment of the program. Just want to tell people, if you want to support this program, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. I released a bonus episode on Monday, available to everyone who signs up over there. Also, congratulations to right now our leaders in the Stone Cold Locks Playoff Challenge. We have Adam Pike leading the way with 38 points. Owen Lopez O'Neill and Justingus Pingus tied for second with 36 points. Bobby Payton in fourth. And Keefe, not me, Keef, is in fifth place. I'm in last place. I have 0 points. Dave, for the playoffs, for the first round of the playoffs, I picked 7 of the 8 series winners correctly. No big deal, a lot of favorites, but hey, I missed Lakers Timberwolves. But I got every series linked incorrect. Do you know how hard that is to do?
That's
the odds of that happening are very, very low. It's lower than Cooper Flag ending up on the Mavericks. I impressed myself with my inaccuracy. Anyways, support the program. Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast.
We got a little bit of news, Keith.
What's the news?
Portland Trailblazers are now up for sale.
Wait, weren't they mandated supposed to be for sale?
Yes, but now
it's
official.
That's good. That's good breaking news, Dave, right before the awards segment of the program, Dave. This is the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week or every 12 days, depending on recording schedules, to the worst performance in a box score. There have been lots of notable bad shooting performances over the last 12 days. I mean, credit the whole league with playing zone in the playoffs, I guess, and people don't know how to bust that zone. Honorable mention, let's say Brandon Pajemski, 1 for 10. Russell Westbrook, 2 for 12. Brennan Pajemski again, 3 for 14. Jayson Tatum, 5 for 19, RIP. Jalen Brunson, 6 for 19. He's not perfect. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 7 for 22. Jokic also, MVP buddy with his 7 for 22. Jayson Tatum again, 7 for 23. Jokic again, 8 for 25. We can have a conversation about Jokic in a second. Mm-hmm. Let's do our 3 nominees. I'd say there's a clear winner, but we'll just read these off as they occurred chronologically. Ty Jerome in a start, 1 for 14 in a 1-point loss. 1 for 14, 2 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers, and 4 personal fouls. That's tough, man. I hope he didn't buy a house already. Next nominee, Jalen Williams, game 1. 5 for 20, 16 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 1 turnover, 1 personal foul. Next nominee, Jalen Williams, game 4. 2 for 13, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 1 turnover, 2 personal fouls. Your winner is Ty Jerome. I mean,
yes,
1 for 14. That's special.
Yeah.
Followed it up with
the worst?
1 for 8, I think.
Has he been the worst rotation player in the playoffs, like high minute rotation player in the playoffs?
Probably in the second round. Yeah.
Awful, man.
All right. Who do you take? Ty Jerome at 27% in the second round, or Podziemski at 22% in the second round?
Man, I don't know. Probably
at
Pods.
Least,
Pods.
At least Pods does other stuff.
Yeah.
Like Ty Jerome was like a 50-40-90 guy.
Right.
In the regular season. And if
we're going to hear a lot this summer about the Cavs being a paper tiger.
Yeah.
What would you do if you were the Cavs after this run?
Run it back.
You would?
What
because you're close enough.
I mean,
and maybe the injury luck works out in your favor next year.
Donovan Mitchell for the 2 pick and De'Aaron Fox? No. I would.
Would you do that if you were San Antonio?
Would the Mavericks trade you the first pick for Donovan Mitchell?
And you start the reboot, and it's Garland, Flag.
It's not even a reboot.
And
Garland,
Mobley.
Flag, and Mobley is freaking awesome. Trade me Jared Allen for Austin Reeves. How close are we?
I was just about to say, get Jared Allen to the Lakers, and you got yourself a stew, Keith.
Got yourself a stew working.
I don't know, man. That's kind of interesting. But like, if you're the Cavs, and I guess now the Celtics, like, we're waiting on that news, right? But
Donovan Mitchell for Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane. Darius Garland, Desmond Bane, Jaren, Evan Mobley. God, that's awesome. That's awesome. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's wrap up the show talking a little bit about the Thunder and the Nuggets. It's been an awesome series.
It has been.
Both teams struggling on offense. The Nuggets turning up a defensive gear I didn't know they had. They win in game 4 again to a lot of zone. Maybe that's I don't know if they have something else they can pull out of their hat. Like if the Thunder start getting used to that. Jokic. All right, I understand he's double teamed at all times, basically. I understand whenever he gets the ball.
Quadruple team.
Yeah, the help comes. I understand he's playing a lot of times with a Michael Porter Jr. who is not making shots, but at least he's being guarded. But like, they're leaving Russell Westbrook wide open. They're leaving Christian Brown wide open. Like, even despite all that, I'm shocked how many shots I've seen Jokic miss. I don't know if that's not fair. Have I held him to too high of a standard? Also, by the way, Jokic is 21.4% on threes against the Thunder, which is slightly better than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being 21.1% on threes.
These guys are out of rhythm.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Like with the playoffs, can you knock these guys off rhythm and keep them off rhythm? And I think Jokic, the shooting is off rhythm for him. Yeah. He does that thing where he's not aggressive to start these games. I think he's got to get over that. I think he just got to come out and try to score right away. Also, get him in foul trouble. And I just think that would change the game for Jokic.
Get who in foul trouble? What do you mean?
Get the Thunder
in. Them in foul trouble.
Yeah. Get to the free throw line early and see the ball go through the basket a few times, But also, I don't know, man. I think the Thunder just are doing such a good job of guarding Jokic.
Yep.
And reducing the Nuggets down to their weakest link. Whoever that is on the if you look at them when they're setting up, they've got 5 guys shading toward wherever Jokic is at all times, even when he's on the wing. Because on the weak side, you've got Russ and you've got Christian Brown. And, even Aaron Gordon, they're still like 2 steps, farther toward the paint when he's out at the 3-point line than you would see during the regular season. I mean, they are willing to let anybody who's not Jokic or Murray get one of those shots up. And I mean, it's kind of working out for him so far, right? Like, I mean, it's been a close series, but I don't think the Thunder look like they're stressed.
No, and it's been a close series. And of course, I think if Jokic had played better, if the Nuggets make more free throws and more open threes, like they could easily, or probably they are going to be up 3-1. The Thunder have they shot like they haven't hit 40% shooting since game 2. But the Thunder's defense is so good, and I know I said this already on the bonus episode, repeating it. For me, it's the way that the Thunder take care of the basketball and never give up a fast break bucket. Like I'm talking literally never. I think like I got exposed firsthand against this in the Grizzlies series, and then like you're seeing the Nuggets with an 8-point first quarter, and then I think they had in the fourth quarter, maybe it was the third quarter when they finally built up a little bit of lead in game 4. Like Aaron Gordon drove the whole length of the court in like semi-transition and dropped it off to Jokic for a layup, and it was like Jokic's only easy basket, and I'm like, I think that was their first transition basket of the whole game, and I looked it up and it was, and it's just like. The Thunder not allowing. We already know they have the horses of defenders. Like Lou Dort, first team all defense. Hey, you're shooting too much. Get out of here. Kaysen Wallace, come on. Alex Caruso, come on there. They already have these horses that can defend in the half court, but the way those guys also prevent people from getting anything easy in transition, I think it's probably the difference. It's why I think the Thunder they're probably not stressed. I mean, stress the 2-2 series, best of 3.
Well, they still have buttons to push too, right? I mean, Dort not playing in the fourth quarter is very interesting. I thought if they lost that game, like you don't start Dort in the next game, right? Like and probably maybe you don't even play him.
I mean, maybe some more Aaron Wiggins.
I think it's either
Kaysen Wallace.
Depends.
I mean,
Kaysen Wallace, it's Wiggins. I mean, it's Caruso. Like I actually think there's an argument when you move Caruso out there for Chet, right? Like they've got that button to press. So because there have been too many times in the series where Chet just is too small to be in the space that he's in, right? Like the spaces that he operates, he is just not a big enough body. I mean, MPJ and Aaron Gordon are bigger than Chet, right? Like that's a huge problem when he's out there. So like, I don't know. I think the Thunder, they still have a lot of cards. The depth is still their strong suit, and obviously they got home court.
Yeah.
It's going 7 though. It's got.
You think so?
It's too tight. It's too tight. It's too tight.
Technically, while I said the Nuggets could have been up 3-1, like they could have been swept too because their 2 wins were nail biters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's going to go 7, man. Jokic we haven't gotten a.
What happens if we don't? I feel like if we don't get a huge Jokic game, if he goes out with another like 35% shooting night, this frankly changes my opinion of him. Like,
really?
Yeah. I've never seen him have 4 straight sub 40% shooting game. Like his whole thing is his shots go in no matter what. And that's been like the magic. So you're like, oh, like that's for me has always been why do we talk about other players as being the best player? Are you seeing what this guy's doing? Everything he shoots goes in. He shoots 59% double teamed or whatever. And yes, of course, he's getting 14 rebounds and 10 assists every game, but also he's unstoppable. If I see him be stopped in a game where I don't care how many people are guarding him, maybe I've held him, but I'm talking about that's because I held him in my head on this pedestal of like, are you one of the 6 best players ever? That's like the pedestal in my head where I've been holding him. And so now that gets shaken.
So if they come out, they win this series.
Oh yeah.
Does it change anything for you?
Of course. I'm all back in.
Okay. Back in. All right. Just got to make sure. Okay.
Do any of the teams that are current underdogs win the series? Do Nuggets,
I don't see
Warriors, Cavs, or Celtics?
I mean, the Warriors, like they're not going to, there's no way Steph's going to come back for game 5. They're going to give us an update Wednesday morning. It just doesn't seem like
Warriors seem least likely.
Yeah. I think
Celtics with no Tatum also seems very unlikely.
Although, I mean, again, like we've said, the Celtics are super deep and they are able to win in spite of missing guys. I just think 3-1, man, like at this point, these teams are all they're all too good, to lose 3 straight. I just think it would be unrealistic. I don't know.
Finally, Dave, a small jelly bean update for all the people who listen to the show as a serialized broadcast.
Yeah.
The Target jelly bean order, which I said I had little faith it would come. Just got an update this morning. There's been another delay. They asked me we had to approve a later delivery. Jelly beans now expected on May 27th. They're not coming. I'm just telling you.
Is this a tariff
I don't know if it is. Sure, no, these were already in
the jelly
stock on the
beans coming
shelf.
from China?
Okay. As far as I know, this is an American-made product. I could be wrong. But the jelly beans they sold me, where I said there's no way these are coming, very small probability. They keep sending email updates. The latest update as of this morning, May 27th, expected delivery. I'll keep you updated if they ever show up. Anyways, thanks for hanging out, Dave. A lot of fun. A very emotional day yesterday. Now we have to. I felt like we put it at least in some good perspective. It's good hearing your thoughts on it all. Listeners, thanks for listening. Of course, you guys are the best. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fastbreak break, man. You understand?
I will remember.